Rasheed Broadbell, HANSLE, Parchment, and Orlando Bennett all make it through safely to the semi-finals of the men's 110 meters hurdles at the Paris Olympic Games. However, HANSLE Parchment at one point in these heats made the entire Jamaica panic. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Go ahead, please hit the subscribe button so we continue to go. When you do that, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video drops. You drop a video at least once a day here in Peter Lloyd World. Also, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button and finally leave your thoughts. And ready? Yeah, good to go. Well, HANSLE Parchment, as well as Orlando Bennett, and of course Rasheed Broadbell have all made it safely through to the semi-finals of the men's 110 meters hurdles at the Paris Olympic Games. Rasheed Broadbell, who participated in the final heat of this event, which is heat number 5, faced off against the current 3 times world champion in the men's 110 meters hurdles, the American Grant Holloway. Now, in the end, Holloway took the win and Rasheed Broadbell came second. Holloway won in a very impressive 13.01 seconds, with Rasheed Broadbell taking second in 13.42. Zoha came third in 13.43 seconds. Now, Rasheed Broadbell had a very slow start in this event, another problem that he had. And of course, Grant Holloway was the reverse. Holloway, as you can see here, was out like a lightning. That's him in the middle. And Holloway led the entire 110 meters. I mean, he dominated, in fact. Broadbell had to come almost from the back of the pack. And as you can see here, barely made it in time to take second in this event. Broadbell spoke to Digicel after his second placing.
It was a rocky first one for you. What went wrong?
As I said, it was a back setting. I have to go around now, speak to coach about it, so we can use the same block that they're using now. The setting in between is a much bigger block, so I feel like the foot setting goes wrong. And as I said, you're a professional. You have to just learn to adjust and just learn to adapt. I think that's what I did today, and it should be better in the semi-finals going forward.
Well, that may explain the start, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Now, to me, of the 3 Jamaicans, Orlando Bennett performed the best. Running in heat number 2, the Jamaican took second and looked quite comfortable doing so. In this heat, it was Mendy who took first in a time of 13.31 seconds, a season's best, with Orlando Bennett coming second in 13.35 seconds. Now, I believe Bennett of the 3 Jamaicans got the best start. His start was quite solid. To me, he looked the best. He looked the one who suffered the least from ring rust, so to speak. And Bennett, in fact, led throughout most of this event. He just looked comfortable. He looked good. And I kind of believe that he maybe slowed it down and shut it down, and in the end gave up the win. But I was impressed with Bennett the most of the 3. Bennett, of course, also spoke to Digicel after his heat.
Orlando, you're through to the semi-final. How was it out there today?
I mean, it was a great feeling. I mean, we came out here, executed. It was a fairly good race. So, I just have a good mindset going into the semi-finals.
What do you take away from the semi-final, this heat going into the semi-final?
I just know that what I'm doing is right, so I just have to put more pressure on the gas and just get it together. Just recover and just keep it cool.
In my mind, Orlando Bennett really, really looks good. Now, to HANSLE Parchment, the defending gold medalist from the Olympic Games in 2021. Now, okay, first let's talk about placement. Parchment ran in heat number 3 and in fact placed 5th when he passed through the tape, running 13.43 with 0.430 seconds separating him from the first, from third and fourth. It was China's Zhu who won this in a time of 13.40 seconds. And like I said, second, third, fourth as well as Parchment all ran 13.43 with, a 0.430 etc. difference. Now Parchment just looked ring rusty. He got out of the blocks with his traditional horrendous start, and he was just too far behind. So by this point you can see slowly clawing back into the race. But by the time he got to the line, there are a few things he did wrong. He didn't lean enough, and I just thought that this was unnecessary, because I really do believe that Parchment is better than everyone else in this race. It was clearing Ross, and he has to do something about this horrible start that has plagued him throughout his entire career. Now the reason, of course, is that Parchment is built like a train, a truck. He's huge, and it takes a while for him to build momentum, But anyway, he also spoke to Digicel after his heat, where, honestly, people, I panicked. I don't know about you, anybody that was watching this race from Jamaica who support the Jamaican athletes, me know no panic, because Parchment is a medal hopeful and possibility.
Was it like you were undone by your famous horse start?
I don't even know what my start was like just now. I didn't even see the replay, but definitely something I'm always working on, and I feel like it's going to be better for the next race.
Yeah. I don't know, how did it feel out there today?
A little bit chilly at the warm-up. Of course, the atmosphere inside the stadium is awesome. It actually feels warmer inside the stadium. I wish we had that kind of warmth on the warm-up track. But no excuse, I just have to make sure that I'm properly warm and ready to go for the second. Trust me, as I stepped inside the stadium, I could feel the difference in the temperature. You know what I mean? But of course, as I said, we have to use the time wisely to make sure that we're ready and warm as possible for each race.
Now, Grant Holloway enters the semifinals, no surprise here, with the fastest qualifying time, a time of 13.01. Orlando Bennett comes in as a Jamaican at the fastest time, 13.35 seconds. And Broadbell is the second fastest qualifying Jamaican with a time of 13.42. And of course, Parchment with that horrendous start, 18th overall, and the third fastest Jamaican going into the semifinals for the men's 110 meters hurdles with a time of 13.43. As I stated, now obviously Holloway is a person to beat. Now this, of course, is my 2 cents. I kind of think Holloway might have run a little too fast there. I wasn't quite sure what that was about. I have a theory, and of course, when I express a theory, I know that my American friends are going to say certain things, but I think Grant Holloway psychologically is terrified of the Jamaicans. I think he's terrified of HANSLE Parchment. I think he's terrified of Rasheed Broadbell. And I know that you guys are going to come back and say, what you're talking about, it's nonsense. But just think about it logically. The only 2 persons who have beaten him consistently are HANSLE Parchment and Rasheed Broadbell in the last 2 years. Nobody else. There was no reason for him to do that run. It made no sense. Nobody runs like that in the heats. It was actually, I don't want to say stupid. It just made no sense. There was no reason for him to do that. But Rasheed Broadbell is in the race, and I think, because you have to remember, I've said to you repeatedly, racing is not just about crunching numbers. I know I talk a lot about numbers here, but there are other things that I do, which is why I often get my predictions correct. When I'm wrong, I tell you I'm wrong, but I'm generally correct. And the psychology is really important. And whether or not you believe it, someone who has won, Grant Holloway has not lost a 60-meter hurdles race since he left high school or college, one of the 2. He just has never lost. And he has really only lost to 2 men several times repeatedly, which is HANSLE Parchment, the man you're looking at, and Rasheed Broadbell. And in Heat 5, he was running against Rasheed Broadbell. And Broadbell, in the past, has beaten him by coming from behind, way from behind, and catching him and passing him on the line. And I honestly think that Holloway panicked. And I know that you're not going to say nonsense, I'm talking, but just look at the logistics. Why the hell would he have ran so fast? It just made no sense. No athlete with that level of experience does that, because he didn't need to do it. You just need to do enough to go through. Because remember, you're doing rounds. You're just doing rounds, so you have to conserve. So running 13.01 It just made no sense. So I personally think he knows that Rasheed Broadbell was in the race. Broadbell has beaten him several times by coming from behind, and he panicked. That's my personal opinion. I know you're going to say I'm talking nonsense, but that's cool. We'll see in the end. So I think, now speaking directly about Broadbell, Broadbell has to deal with his start. What he said, it had something to do with the blocks, he explained, so let's hope that that's the case. The good thing about Broadbell is that we have seen him improve throughout the rounds, and I'm hoping that's what happens in this instance. Do I think Broadbell can hit the podium? I am very certain he can. I mean, like, I'm really, really, really certain. He just has to remain technically proficient and keep calm. And we saw him display that because he said there was an issue and he overcame it, because that run in the heat for Rasheed Broadbell was terrible. But he still maintained his cool and was able to make it through to the semifinals. Broadbell is very dangerous, and I do believe, if all goes according to my calculations, he should end up on the podium. And I know that the Americans are hoping for a sweep, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, realistically, Grant Holloway is an incredible athlete. I'm sorry, he really is. He's an incredible athlete. 3 times world champion, has not been beaten since high school in the 60-meter hurdles. That world record holder in the 60-meter hurdles, he's like a machine. He's incredible. And obviously, he has adjusted for a HANSLE Parchment and a Rasheed Broadbell, which is one of the reasons why he ran so fast. I think he believes that if I get out in front far enough, they will never catch me. So I really think that's what happened, and he did this simply because he was running against a Jamaican. Now, HANSLE Parchment. Parchment has to fix this start. It really is a bother. And the truth is, other athletes now know that this is his Achilles heel. So if they're able to get out far enough in front of him, it's going to be really hard for him to catch them. We saw this happen to him at the national championships. We saw this happen to him in Diamond earlier this year. We have seen it happening to him over the last couple of years. It is his greatest flaw. I know he's big like a house. He's a tall, lumbering person. So, I mean, for him, just the sheer mechanics and overcoming gravity, it's hard, but he has to fix it. What he said in the interview, he's constantly working on it, but this is his problem. If he gets a solid start, the Americans are going to be in problems. That's just the truth. I do not see the Americans sweeping. You know, just like I told you last night that the 100 meters, I was right. So I don't think they're going to sweep. I don't see it happening, okay? But Broadbell and HANSLE Parchment have to get their acts together. That's just the truth. I think they will improve, because what I'm saying is they have the capacity to be on that podium. Finally, Orlando Bennett. Wow. Of the 3 Jamaicans, he looked the best. I didn't see the ring rust, because one of the things that I saw in HANSLE and Broadbell was definitely ring rust. And we know they have not done a lot of running this year for numerous reasons. We won't get into that. But Orlando looked really, really good. And I think he has even improved since his very, very surprising run to many Jamaicans at the Jamaican National Championships. So we have to keep our eye on him. I think he's going to run a new PB, and he's also a medal possibility based on what I saw. But this, of course, is my 2 cents. Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, hit the like button. Remember, your royals, kings, and queens. Bless up!